Howdy folks. Okay, so in the last video, which I filmed an hour ago, but you're seeing this a week later, at least. I don't know when you might be seeing it in 5 years, who knows. Did some touch-ups on this painting I'm working on. This is my character, well, I was going to say Ricky B. Rat, but his full name, as his mother calls him, Richard Barrett Ratteriff, but Ricky B. the Rock and Roll Rat. And I've started painting my cartoon characters in semi-realistic. So anyways, we're working on this painting. Last time we did some touch-ups on his easel, on his skin, which now we're going to soften by going over it. Well, I don't know. We'll see how long this video goes. I want to kind of keep these under an hour, or about an hour. Last one probably went longer than that, but anyways, we may not get to certain things in this video if I'm painting. I'm going to be painting all day, or until this painting's finished, whichever comes first. Next, I think I'm going to work on this goblet, and if I zoom in, I'm going to go really zoom in, you can see where I've used an acrylic paint pen to draw it. Now, originally I drew the after I did my green base coat on everything that I allowed to show through. I then drew in orange to start painting, but this then somehow, I look at this should have fallen through there. And I don't know, maybe I did draw it this way, but it looks like it's this way, right? So to even it out, I went over with the blue after I'd done some painting and realized my mistake, and we're gonna make it a little wider. So, and then we'll work on some other stuff. There's fruit in the background that right now just looks like a bunch of lemons, but it's actually pears and apples and stuff. So, and I'll zoom out so we could show. This is the reference I cobbled together in Procreate. So. And this is, the bottom part is based on one of the old Dutch masters, Floris van Dyck. And we can also we see the grid quite strongly through at this point as well. So this is showing, if I hold up the reference, and we can see that I'm just going to gesture with the paper towel. This part is green and that part's actually clear, but I'm going to make it as if it's a green glass goblet, because I kind of like colored glass. So basically I'm going to make it more difficult on myself is kind of what I'm saying. But also that I don't have to worry as much about the tablecloth color coming through. So let's see here. I was talking before about Stevenson paints. It doesn't exist anymore, but I still have a few little bits and pieces of certain colors by Stevenson. Otherwise, I tend to use a lot of golden. You have some of the cheaper ones like Winsor & Newton Gallery or Liquitex Basics, but the other thing is I'm kind of trying to get away from, I mean, for certain colors, yeah, I'll have like mixtures where there's multiple pigments, but otherwise I'm kind of trying to just have paints that are the straight pigment, single pigment paints, and then I can mix my stuff myself. But I mean, if there's a single color that you tend to use a lot of, then it kind of makes sense to buy the mixture too, because you're kind of starting from that. But anyways, right now we're just gonna kind of block stuff in. I don't mind if the stuff in the background kind of shows through, because it is, after all, it's a glass and you can see through it, right? But I need it to be tinted. then in terms of the balance, I'm also kind of realizing, well, maybe, you know, like the stem, maybe the glass gets a little wider here. You know, it's not going to be exactly as Van Dyck painted things. In the end, the lesson I think I will learn is that it's better to paint your characters with coffee mugs, because then you don't have to worry about any of this crap. It's an opaque thing. One of the things I want to do in the new year, some small studies of glass items and whatnot. I actually have for another painting I'm working on. I have where the character is holding a pina colada. So I actually managed to find in a thrift store a couple of pina colada glasses, and I need to do some studies of those before I get moving back on that painting. Okay, so like the level where there are some highlights that I want to put on that cup. I might have to wait until this stuff dries a bit, but I'm gonna also, there's kind of a dark area there, but not super dark. Try and mask those earlier darker areas. Now, since I've got green on my palette, let's go in to the fruit bowl, because some of these are green apples. So I'm gonna try and use up my green paint. I've got a pear here that, as far as I'm concerned, is done. I gotta work on the grapes a bit. Although the grapes, I think I'm gonna leave a little bit abstracted. It's just to say I'm lazy, is what that's to say. Now. What I was going to say is, in the reference, those are probably like, well, I don't know if they had the breed Granny Smith, but you know, that kind of more, it's a different shade of green that's actually there, so I'm going to add some white to muck with it. Just adding some of that to the plate under the pizza. And I lost part of my plate for the grapes here, so I'm gonna. Just do that. Here. It's funny, in the viewfinder that green looks better. In real life it looks kind of gray. That means we can throw some yellow into it. But trying to not end up with just the same color that I've already got there, but just warm up just a touch. Now those have some brownish in the, in the butt part of the blossom end of the fruit. But I think we need that paint to dry before we go and add in the browns and stuff like that. So we're going to mix up some oranges and reds to do the other fruit. It might not have made much improvement, but there are some highlight areas on those leaves. They do have a bit of the same grayish pastel-y green as the other, so leave them muck around. Again, the leaf areas I think are ones that will, when I start doing the paint pen at the end. Basically, I'm going to draw on top of the area I painted, so I don't mind them looking kind of messed up right now. And what I have to muck with now is there is this peel. And put a bit of the apple skin color into parts of it. I think that's a lot better. And in case anyone missed the last video, I mean, I alluded to it at the beginning that I'm getting over a cold, so if you see jump cuts like what we probably just had there, it's because I got into a coughing spell and I went snip snip gone. So there we have it. It's funny, I can see so much more of the grid in the viewfinder like there. I can barely see it on the actual thing, but I can really see it in the viewfinder of my camcorder. Whatever. This actual thing has like a lace pattern and whatnot that I started trying to paint in and it looked bad, so I just went over it. But I think I'm gonna do that with like a gray thing, so at the end that should kind of hide it. We'll see. Now, do I want to fuck with the grapes much, or do I want to kind of leave them be? I think I've kind of decided with the grapes they're going to be kind of more, you know. Basically, I'm going to be lazy with the grapes. I'm not going to actually paint every single grape. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. Make them more painterly, whatever. So now. Yeah, I think Ricky's face is dry, which means that it's time to go back in to mucking with his skin tone. You hear rustling, I am getting wax paper for a fresh sheet of palette, because it's basically the same as when you buy palette paper, but it's, you know, $3, maybe $5 for a 75-foot roll, as opposed to whatever ungodly amount they charge at the arts and crafts stores. So this is a little bit gray, but we will try it nonetheless. Got a little bit of reflection up there. The brush it. Oops. Undo that. The brush is a little wet, so obviously I have to fix his chin now. It's a bit grayed, but paper towel. Like, I want some of that on there, but I don't want it like super on there. So I should zoom out because I've been working on his belly a bit. Ricky's tail is gonna be, his rat tails are a little bit pinkish. I don't want them as pink as the ears, but I probably am gonna leave it as it is. Other than I need to look around in there a little bit and wipe down. This color is a little too grayed out, a little too ashy. But again, it's still an intermediate step type of thing. I mean, there's parts of my skin where if I held that's probably getting out of focus, but it's kind of similar to tones in my skin, but it does look a little. When I used to mix that, I used Naples Yellow Light, I used Yellow Ochre, and I used Indian Red. So, but we will let that dry, and then we will brighten his tone up a bit, and yada yada. It's a several step process with skin tone, I find. Now, just kind of looking at stuff that a lot of stuff is kind of getting done, at least to the point where I'm kind of happy enough with it that I would leave it until I'm going to go over things with the paint markers. One problem I am having is cheese blocks. Now, this one's getting a bit better. But I need to put some tone into it. The cheddar block, again, the color is, I think, at this point okay, but I need to put a little bit of highlights and shadows. And then that's supposed to be Swiss, so this is still the underpainting. Actually, that's another job for Naples Yellow Light. Should I have a reference for cheese? Probably, but we are going to wing it. What I'm seeing is a triangular block, so there's an edge there that wraps around, but that can be a bit darker. Yeah. Funny, it does look a lot brighter in the viewfinder, so honestly, I think for that one, that's probably gonna do it. But now let's move on to the other cheese blocks. trying to show here is lines where it's kind of been cut into. A bit of shadow. And some like kind of like tiny little bubble things. The same on the cheddar, but what's the shadow color here is going to be the highlight up here. There's a weird little reflection of, because the plate is like a polished metal, silver or whatever, and it reflects up a little bit onto here, which is a little bit odd. But try to indicate as well where there's little like bubbles in the cheese. Kind of broken off. Now the white, I mean, I'm going to add some dark in the cheddar in a sec, and then when it dries, I'm going to go over with a light orange, so it's not going to be like a stark white on cheddar, because that would look wrong. Now this color though, I can also use a little bit in here. Actually, I could even use this color a little bit for the peel, because the inside of the peel would be lighter like the flesh of the apple, right? So. Add a tiny bit of yellow back into it. I can also use this for some of these fruits. Alright folks, I think that's been another hour, so let's drop the video here. So what did we work on this time? Is that in focus? I think it's in focus. We gave some shadows to Ricky's face, and we still need to make, to lighten him up a bit and brighten him up a bit. But we got our definition stuff done there. He's still got pecs for now. We worked on the cheese. The Swiss looks very kind of Swiss. I mean, Swiss is a white cheese, so really the shadows and the holes wouldn't actually be that yellow and orange, but whatever. This is a fantasy world, right? We worked on the cut lines on the cheddar, looking a little better, and whatever this, I don't know. It does have tiny bubbles, so maybe Havarti or something, but Havarti's whiter than that. Anyways, whatever kind of cheese they have in Ricky's world that this is. I did a tiny bit of work on the pizza. We worked on the goblet, fixed the shape and stuff. We did a little bit on that cut apple, and that, you know, I sort of touched, but I don't know, it made much difference on that walnut. And we worked on the peel. We ignored the grapes. We worked on the fruit bowl. We worked on the grape leaves. And I think that's about it. So I'm going to take a short break, and I'm going to keep going. But I think in the next installment, I think basically it's time to finalize his... God, it's funny. I said it's super dark, and I put my hand next to it. It's like, oh, oh yeah, well, my fingers are more red. But, you know, depends which part of my skin. But we will brighten and lighten Ricky a little bit, because he definitely doesn't get enough sun to have that kind of skin tone. Unless the lighting is really bad in his studio, but we're pretending that it's not. So there's that. Probably be about time to start putting in like the butt ends of all the fruit, you know, like the little, you know, the bottom of your apple where it has the teeny tiny pokey pointy bits that used to be part of the bud. So we'll put some of that stuff in, and depending how long that takes, we might even get into starting to work on like lettering in the poster and whatnot with paint pens. But thanks for watching, and we will catch you next time, in which case it'll be posted like 2 weeks after this bloody flu or cold is gone, but I'll still be talking like this, because it's all filmed the same day. That's how we do it. So, thanks for watching, bye for now.